first time watching a slasher movie by my own free will, and I do not regret anything. Except for the fact that I cannot sleep at night, since every time I see a corner, I imagine Michael Myers holding a knife and just stares at me. But other than that, all is good. Good morning, afternoon, evening everyone. Hi, my name is Myra and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't, please don't forget to click that bell button besides my subscribe button so you will be notified if I upload something new. And that is necessary, especially if you like what you see, because I upload sometimes rarely, sometimes frequent. I still don't know my schedule, so better safe than sorry. Now, back to this review. I can honestly say that this is the second horror movie that I watch by my own free will. First one was Hereditary, and of course because of that I couldn't sleep at night as well. But this was a bit different since it has nothing to do with mysticality, but more of a heavy gore / thriller movie. And I don't know what to expect because I never really watched this kind of movie before. However, like I said, I can honestly say that I do not regret anything. Except maybe that I don't watch slasher movie that often. If I do that, at least I'll know what I'm going to talk about now. So if this is not the horror movie review that you are looking for, I apologize. I am no expert in horror or gore or thriller, but I still want to say my opinion as a beginner in this film area. So here we go. Continuing from the previous movies, that's what I learned of, since from what I've seen, there are already a few Halloween movies before this. The story starts with two podcast writers who are specialized in murders, serial murders to be exact, and how they want to talk to Michael Myers, whom they have an appointment in a mental institution before he was transferred to a more secure facility by tomorrow. Their effort was in vain because Michael never really speaks, even when he was egged on by his mask. Meanwhile, the protagonist... Oh, by the way, is that a small spoiler? If it is, I'm really sorry, but I just feel like it needs to be said that Michael is adamant with him not talk. I'm sorry if that's a spoiler. I'm really sorry, but I hope you can forgive me. Meanwhile, the main protagonist named Laurie Strode, which friends I believe or families, if I'm wrong, please correct me. I only Wikipedia this sitch and Google the others. So if I say anything wrong, please correct me down below. I appreciate that a lot. Help me help you, if that makes any sense. Which friends or family murdered 40 years ago has been waiting for a time that Michael will come back and probably finish his killing spree, since she is the only survivor. And once she learned that Michael escaped his transportation that was supposed to bring him to a more secure facility, she begged for her family, which includes her daughter, son-in-law, which is her daughter's husband, and her granddaughter, to also prepare for the worst Halloween nights of their lives. If you haven't seen the movie, as usual, stop here. Even though there's like that small spoiler that I told you about, there are a lot of things that I left out in my synopsis. But we will try and break them one by one. The first time I saw the opening, which is the scene that I spoiled a little bit earlier, you know, when the podcasters visit him in the mental institution, I was in awe, but not completely blown away. The camera focused a lot on random aesthetics at first, but it also shows the dynamic of a mental institution. The golden scene for me was when the podcasters visit Michael in the yard and urge him with his mask. I was cringing the whole time and even slightly hope that Michael will just snap the podcaster's neck or even punch his jaw until it hinges off, which what happened with one of the victims apparently. But nothing happened after that scene, which is ultimately worse. Do you ever experience that expecting feeling, the build up, you know, but then get no resolution afterward? Like you want to yell, what happened next? Yeah, that's how I feel. But it made me excited for this movie and even more curious. The scene made me notice the build-ups that happened, which were pretty good. Like when Michael murdered the podcasters, and then when he killed Vicky. Yeah, of course, there's a lot of killing involved. I mean, that is the point of a slasher movie, right? Which reminds me, my favorite killing would have to be when Michael kills the doctor that helped him. I think he is a psychopath and his name is Dr. Sartain. I cannot see clearly because I do this. I'm still scared of what's going on. But I know that his head was stomped to oblivion by Michael. And man, once I got over the brain juice and the blood, it felt pretty good. I feel like he deserves it for possibly helping Michael break out and killing a police officer and almost create an even worse future for everyone. So as his brain leaked to the street and his face is not really his face anymore, I was happy on Dr. Sartain's death. There are a few jump scares too, but I have to admit that I cheated a little. Because my friend who was watching with me did have a list of jump scares that would happen in this movie, including the time that it will happen. But if I don't have that jump scare list, I would be quivering like a leaf. Oh, and I noticed every time Michael showed up, there's this specific soundtrack that was playing, which kind of announced his appearance. I just think that it's very neat and nostalgic because I had a feeling that something similar happened to the previous movies as well. If I'm wrong, again, please correct me in the comments below. And speaking of nostalgic, my friend did mention something that happened in the movie, which was when Lauren fell, she disappeared when Michael looked down for the second time. But in the previous movie, it was in reverse because it was Lauren that was looking down for Michael and then Michael disappeared. Do you think another similar parallel like that happened in the other scenes? Please let me know in the comments below. What satisfies me the most is actually the solution or the ending of the movie. Not exactly the ending, not the credits, but the ending of the movie. I hope that makes sense. I really believe that Karen, which is Lauren's daughter, isn't capable of firing a weapon when she just weeps and begs to Michael for her life. But when Michael showed up, man, that split second on her face, it was priceless. Then she took the shot and then I saw Laurie in the shadows and actually figured out that the whole house was a trap. All of that happened very fast and it was so thrilling for me. Of course, as the end credit might predict, Michael is arguably still alive and he might be forever because he's possibly is not even human. But the satisfactory remains. Character-wise, I like Lauren the best because she is so badass and still thriving, regardless of her trauma and fear. And Jamie Lee Curtis played her part so perfectly. My least favorite character is actually not Michael, and as you might predict, it's Dr. Sartain. I have a sneaking suspicion that he is behind the rolling of the bus, so if it wasn't for him, none of the horror would happen. The one who played Michael is also to be admired. We don't need to see his face or hear his voice to fear him. That just comes naturally every time we see that mask. Now we're back to the question, should you watch this movie? For me, from my opinion, definitely a must-watch for all of you horror lovers. And for those who doesn't love horror, but still curious, watch at your own risk. The build-ups are great and the conclusion is so good, but still it makes me awake at night. I guess that's just mean it's a good horror movie and it's worthy of watching at least one time. So that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you liked this movie review. And if you are, please don't forget to drop a comment, like, subscribe, follow my Facebook and Instagram there in my description below. Thank you again so much for watching and just thank you for being here and thank you for being you. And I will see you next time. Bye!